Hey y'all, this your girl Monica and you're watching Wrap Up TV. The tour for me has been a great experience because we were not touring for over almost 10 years. And I think that the experience was great because Trey and I have a great relationship. Dondria comes from So Def. Jermaine is like a brother to me. So we've been able to keep that family-oriented feel as we move city to city, and that makes it easier to deal with how hard it can be sometimes. The craziest thing to date that any of us have seen, I think Trey included, because this is where it went from like fascination to fear for him, was a young lady tight roped across the light fixtures, came off of the balcony onto the light fixture and hopped down on stage. I think by the time she came down, he was like begging for her to just lower yourself slowly. You know, he was scared probably for her life, but if her goal was to be remembered, I think it worked out. My kids went to the Justin Bieber concert in Atlanta, and I mean, they totally shocked me. My sons are very mature because they're accustomed to being around a lot of different things and people, but for whatever reason, they ran and cried from Justin Bieber like they saw Freddy Krueger, and I'm totally confused by that. I mean, he's the cutest little boy with the cutest little haircut. I'm like, what happened? And my 5-year-old told me, he said, Mom, I think I got nervous. But after that, he sent me a picture of himself with a cell phone screaming at the concert with his t-shirt on and enjoying the show. And he told me, he said, Mom, I think that's the best concert I've ever seen. I said, well, who else's concerts have you seen? It's kind of insulting because only mine is the answer. But you know, he was mesmerized at the fact that Justin played so many instruments, and it's had him where he's been on his drums and his guitar nonstop since. So I'm very appreciative that Justin took care of them the way that he did while they were there. I mean, he chased them and took pictures with them and had fun with them. So it'll be something they remember, and I can show them how embarrassing they were when they cried. My oldest son, Rocco, absolutely loves Soulja Boy. Now that's when he puts on what I call his big boy stance. No tears there. I mean, he gives them dap. He knows all the songs, and he even showed Soulja Boy on YouTube where some of his fans created something out of his voice and looping it, making an entire song that he had never even heard. So he got a chance to spend a good amount of time with Soulja Boy while I worked on the album. You know, this is what I tell people, us as artists, Soulja Boy included, are no different than pastors. People expect perfection, and it does not exist. Whatever mistakes we make, however short we fall, we have to really recover from that as human beings first. So for me, being an older person in the game, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to know how it goes. Whatever took place with him, I hope that he's able to come back from it. If it's true, if it's not, whatever it is, I hope that he's able to come back from it, because he did set a great example by doing something that people had never done before. Being a young man, producing his own beats, writing his own lyrics, and then going to YouTube, becoming a phenomenon there, getting signed, and he's made millions of dollars doing it. So my prayer for him would be that he comes back from whatever this is and also learns at the same time, and not become fixated on pleasing other people, but being the best Soulja Boy or the best Andre he can be. Absolutely, we have a follow-up to Love All Over Me. It's actually titled Here I Am. And it's a special song to me because it's totally different than what I normally do. I came into the studio, and Esther Dean actually wrote it, but she wrote it for a man, and a man previously recorded it. So what we did was we flipped it and made it fitting for a woman, and then we also did a version of it with Trey on it. So the version that will be released within the next 3 weeks is myself featuring Trey, and I think it's also special to me because it's one of the first records that I got to do with my cousin, not my play cousin, oh I like him and we're cool, but my blood cousin. We share music and we share a bond that's beyond what people can see. So with Polo producing it and me being so in tune with the record and it not being for me, just walking in hearing it, made it kind of stand out amongst the others. So that'll be the very next one. Now the short hair is the in thing, but I remember my mother was almost brought to tears because I was always into hair. I thought I was going to be a hairstylist. Singing was just something I did at church, never thought of it any further than that. And I came back at 13 with a short haircut. So after a very long punishment and only being excused to do work and school, I mean no other exceptions to the rules, it became like my signature. So I went back to the haircut this album just to tell people I got their outpour of letters during the time that I was within my hiatus, just taking care of my boys, and it was always said to me, we like the Monica from the beginning. We love the fact that you didn't care what other people were doing. We love the fact that you sang real songs. We love the fact that you were focused on one thing and one thing only, and that was being real. The haircut was just to signify that I'm back to that. That was my little, subliminal way of saying that I was back to that.